Alrighty. Okay, today I invited my daughter Emily here. Not because she's my daughter, but because she has. I witnessed her transformation within the past 4 or 5 weeks, and to me that's basically exactly what we're sharing in this class. Okay, so. My hope is that it will show, it's not how, where we are, how much do we know, how old and everything else, but how soon can we embark on this journey of, choosing, basically, choosing to connect, right? Because when we choose to connect differently, we change our perspective, and with the perspective change, everything changes. So, Emily, yes.
Hi guys, thank you for having me here today. Oh, let me pass out a few more handouts.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Thank you.
I'll be your servant.
Thank you. Yeah, so I have a few things to share today. I wrote an essay for school, but honestly that taught me a lot about myself and reflected a lot as well on how I used to lead with kindness, for example, and things like that, which I'll explain after I read my story. I also wrote a poem as well, which I'd like to share later, but I'll start with the story. All right. So, the purpose of the Buddha beads. 108 red-tinted sandalwood beads. For 365 days and 15 blessed years, these Buddha beads hung soundly around my neck. They were given to me by my mother, intentionally purposed to serve me protection, compassion, and power. The reminiscing of something so precious to me is quickly clouded with the truth that I was once a naive girl who gave away something so dear to me to someone I thought I held dear. When describing myself as a naive girl, I don't mean stupidity or lack of wisdom, but rather a lack of boundaries. Leading with kindness without boundaries is ultimately self-sabotage. In this case, I allowed my voice to be belittled, and the needs that meant deeply to me to be ignored. I had met someone who told me I had everything and they had nothing. I felt a duty to share the joyous things in my life, to chip away at my happiness in order to brighten their smile. I wished to share my Buddha beads, hoping it would bring them protection, compassion, and power, the same way it did for me. Looking back, I regret not choosing wisely, and I regret my false sense of protection to always look at the good by neglecting the true depths of the bad. Before passing my beads on to this being, I had emphasized a set of habits on how to care for my precious beads. They were simple, very simple. 1, take them off when you shower or go into any body of water. 2, take them off when you are going to work out. Instead of finding respect and agreement, I discovered repetition and scrimmage with what I needed. As the days went by, I knew those beads were being dirtied by sweat and drowned in showers, a foreshadow of its fate. What brings me the most shame is the truth that sits in how those beads were lost, the truth that I am just as responsible as the one who lost them. There are many times I could have taken back my beads, taken back my power. There were times where I could have held on to my anger and frustration to end it on a petty blame. In the end, it was masked with hopes to shield the other from the guilt and shame they had felt. In the end, I was the one left with guilt, shame, and regret. My heart winces at the thought that they must be between pebbles or beneath the muddy floors of a raging river down in paradise. It's a shameful act to know the truth, lie about it, all while feeling the sorrow and disgust of my past decisions. Lies were born from shame and had been rehearsed to my mother about where those beads might be. Then again, why waste my time and fill my heart with the feeling of such regret? Past the judgments that make my heart weigh heavy, there is a beauty through a different perspective. The loss, or rather death, of my beads lead to a rebirth in its true purpose. It enlightened me to discover that even without them, I am more than capable of protecting myself, showing compassion to myself, and accessing my own power. Rather than holding on to a materialistic power, I can embody those traits it held and claim it as my own, allowing me complete control and freedom over my actions. Without shame, reflection would not follow, and without reflection, growth would not transpire. Therefore, I thank you for losing my Buddha beads. All right, so that was an essay I wrote for school. It was about shame. And through that, I realized a lot. I realized, for one, that no matter how much someone can hurt me or do me wrong, it's not their responsibility to fix that and make me feel better. And to really empower myself, I had to realize that I am responsible for everything that happens to me, because everything happens to me for a reason, right? And so I realized that I need to take on full control and responsibility over this situation. And through that, I also reflected a lot on how I led with my kindness, for when I didn't have a lot of boundaries for myself. And I would use my kindness to avoid chaos, because growing up, who likes chaos? Who likes really being in chaos, right? So I'd use my kindness to have almost like a great vision to see through someone, see through to their heart and understand where their actions come from. And whether that be from their past triggers or their past situations, I can understand why they chose to act the way they did. And so I'd always forgive. But in that way, like, I would sacrifice my own heart, and I'd sacrifice prioritizing myself. And so after that, I realized it's like I can still lead with kindness. I can still lead with understanding, but not because I'm doing it for the other person, but that's because that's what I deserve. I deserve to understand myself, understand my triggers, and through that I can love myself and connect to another person's heart. And so I can still, I can maintain those understanding qualities because I do it for myself, and that's what I deserve. But yeah, and in that way, it almost feels like when I connect to another person's heart, I'm bringing them a blanket of peace and prayer, and I'm just wrapping them in that blanket because that is what I'm doing for myself, and I can transfer that to another person. So that is mainly what I learned from writing this essay, and I can move on to the poem now as well. So, all right, this is also my first poem that I've written in a really long time. So this is very interesting to me. But yeah, all right. The present moment. The present moment, a place so profound. Harder to be felt the more we fight for it to be found. Looking for things we already own. So how do we find the known that waits patiently while sitting alone? It sits right with us, within our very bones, waiting for us to take a peek. And the more we seek, the more ease it may bring. And we'll find ourselves doing what we please. So how do we guarantee that we find our needs and collect the right keys that can put us at ease? It comes from inside. We must look into our minds. Seek to destroy, transform to enlighten. That is the duty our strong hearts were given. Stray away from our path, but do not fear. We have spiritual peers who whisper songs in our ears. The kind that guides us, that loosens our pride, our ego, our judge, the ones that stop us from loving so much. So let us divine be divinely guided, and let them enlighten the path we were given, to melt our hearts with transparency and to see what is meant to be seen. You see, send love to the sky, and soon you'll understand why. The more things appreciated, the more there is to be reciprocated. The more we extinguish our hate with love and empower ourselves with help from above, the more we feel connected to our soul, which brings us closer to our goal, to be in the present moment. We must seek from within, shadows from dark clouds, songs from our past preach so loud. Whatever it may be, we greet it with great compassion. We practice acceptance. That is what will keep us in the present and within our divine presence. All right. Thank you guys. But yeah, so to break it down a bit more, in the first verse, it really talks about like resistance and how if we choose to resist the path that we're already on, then we aren't practicing acceptance, and things won't flow easier to us. We have to accept and understand that whatever thoughts and emotions we're going through, regardless of how hard or tough they may sound to us, like that's still coming from us. And so we have to look at it through a compassionate side and through kindness as well. And we would practice no judgment. So when I say like within our very bones, waiting for us to take a peek, and the more we seek, the more ease it may bring, we're practicing like no judgment within ourselves as well. So also, when I say like seek to destroy, transform to enlighten, what I mean by that is that we're seeking within ourselves to understand like what's triggering us, like what's causing us to, be affected, get annoyed by someone or something like that. It's like, why are we feeling these emotions? And so we seek within ourselves to almost like destroy those triggers, but through understanding and through love and compassion. And when I say like loosen our pride, our ego, our judge, the ones that stop us from loving so much, these are the things that give us a sense of control and a sense of righteousness, which can lead to a lot of judgment and a lot of belief in what's right and wrong, right? But what we really should do is just love, love from our heart, and be open. So melt our hearts with transparency. It's to be open and surrender with our heart. And also when I say like send love to the sky, and soon you'll understand why. It's almost like you are blindly giving gratitude, unrequited gratitude, and unconditional love. That is what I mean by that paragraph. It's like by doing so, we can feel more connected to ourselves because we're just loving blindly, unconditionally. And that in return will always be reciprocated right back to us. Yeah. So that's basically what I would have to say on my reflection of what I've written. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys have any thoughts or any questions to share, please do, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering how old you are. These are very wise words.
I'm 18 years old.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very nice to see that you're at this level on the stage.
Thank you.
Don't be fooled by her age.
Yeah, my dad always says I'm 50,000 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm actually older than him, so.
Much older.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, she read the essay and the poem to me quite a few times, right? But, when I was back there and listening to her, I'm actually learning something new about you. So it's like, who are you? You're very weird. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Can I
Yes,
share
please.
now?
Of
Yeah.
course. Most definitely.
So, what led you to this breakthrough? Like from, from the standard point of view into this transformation?
Yeah, well, I guess growing up, I always grew up having an idea that perspective really goes a long way. And so through difficult times, I use perspective as in understanding to another person, and I realized okay, that can keep me at a sane level, right? But then at some point that kind of plummeted down because I started feeling very sorry for myself. I started feeling like I'm being so understanding, no one's listening to me though. No one really cares about how this has been affecting me. And so I went down a very dark hole where I was very much in my own head, being very selfish with my needs and all of that. And then I remember feeling very messy as well. It's like, okay, this isn't how I naturally run. I enjoy spreading love. I do enjoy understanding people. And so I had to find a balance between that. And so through that, I reflected a lot. And I understand, okay, I grew up with these roots of being understanding, being loving. How can I go back to that while still protecting my own energy and still leading with what I wish to, but without hurting myself and without needing to sacrifice things? And so through that, I'm still learning now, but I found these little ideas oh, okay, this works, where I'm still looking out for myself, but I can still connect to the other person. So, yeah, it's definitely a journey from how I used to think, then feeling everything I felt. It's almost like I had a protection by how I used to think, and then I realized that protection wouldn't last, and so I felt everything that I would have felt if I didn't have that protection. And through that, now I'm starting my true healing and using these new ideas from my old ones in a way. So yeah. Yes.
So to me, in essence, she's mutually healing now. Right? Before, she's sacrificing part of herself for the benefit or the happiness of another person or other people, right? But she's not doing that now. And to me, that's true kindness, because, before, I'm sorry, you're not kind, okay? And you're not nice at all, because you're not kind, you're not nice to yourself.
Yeah.
So by definition, you are not kind and you're not nice. And it's a very dramatic realization. It's like, I thought I was nice, but I wasn't nice because I wasn't nice to myself, and that's judgment, right? That's sympathy. That's putting us at a different level. That's helping others, right? So, yeah, thank you. I mean, it's, she to me, it's like there's a lot of these little intricacies, right? That, so when I summarize and share as principles or approaches in this class, it doesn't really show the emotional side, right? So by bringing her in, hopefully, you see a live person that was honestly 4 or 5 weeks ago. She was a bomb ready to explode at any moment, in crying or anger or sadness or isolation. And you can see the internal conflict. It's like, there's so much energy and so much love, so much kindness within her, but at the same time, there's so much resistance. It's like, stop doing this because it hurts, right? And I'm sure, like a lot of us, seekers and healers, we naturally are like that, right? So the goal is really to change a little. We want to preserve our gifts and just remove some of the hindrances or the blockages or the learned behaviors that's blocking us. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really love the image, and it really resonates with me when you were saying the kindness for yourself and the other is like a blanket of peace and love around them and around yourself. Somehow it really fixed the whole concept for me to, you take good care of the other and yourself.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. I'm glad it resonates with you.
Does your family or any person that has any effect on your transformation or triggering your thoughts?
Yes. It did in the beginning, but I also, because with a few of my family members, sometimes it felt a little bit like they have an idea of me, and I don't really like being perceived in a way. Like, I like, just being able to express how I want to express, but that started to affect me because I would think like, I have a very clear voice in my head telling me that, they're thinking of me this way, but it's not true. And so I would get triggered in the sense where, I need to prove myself, or I need to fight to show that this isn't who I am, and this is truly who I am. But then that goes into, honestly, my triggers. Because at the end of the day, I don't wish for anyone's opinion or their own choices of their actions and how they use their words to affect me. Because that is their choice, and I have my own choice. And so that's what I'm working on right now. Yeah, addressing my triggers and understanding it's like, okay, well, why is it that when they perceive me, I feel threatened or I feel belittled? Like, why is that? And I'll reach deeper into my roots and understand myself more so I can be at peace between those situations. Yeah.
And then, do you have rebounds?
Rebound? Oh, yeah, definitely. This is always going back and forth. And one of the things that has made my journey now, like, I'm setting up a bit of a system because I understand enough now that if I continue to feed into any like dark thoughts, for example, it will just bring me to a hole. But then at the end of the day, what do? I have to climb out that hole because that's what I truly want for myself. And so now I'm looking more towards prevention in the form of healing rather than, release or anything like that. So
can you teach us how you do that?
I don't even know yet. I'll try my best. I guess in a way, it's a lot of what my dad taught me as well. Like, because growing up, like, I learned from a young age to not have expectations and to not assume things and to also not sympathize. So these were some of the 3 biggest things that I learned when I was younger. And that definitely helped me. The main one is to not assume. Because with that, I understand now it's like everyone has their own story. So whatever it is, like where it led them to, react away, that's their business, They have their own story. And so I can't assume that, oh, they're doing this to attack me. And I can't take things personally because we never know what someone's going through. So those were some of the key things that helped me when I was growing up, which is to not assume and to not take things personally. Yeah.
And later on, we're going to do a demo on emotional release versus healing. Okay, so yeah, very quick, hopefully 5-minute, 10-minute demo. Yeah. Yeah. So let's, any other thoughts? It's basically, to me, it's a live example of some of the principles that we shared. And really start with any, you can pick like, okay, I'm going to do everything for myself 100%. You can start with that. Or you can say, I'm going to connect to another person's soul, through loving kindness as much as I possibly can. That will work. So you can, to me, it's like we can pick any one of those and they all basically share the same idea. It's all basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so you close this.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
All
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're gonna.
Bravery too. Thank you for being up there.
Oh,
sharing.
thank you. Yeah. This is fun for me. It's a practice, honestly. I'm trying to perform more and put myself more out there, so I'll go to these like certain types of events and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad.
And thank you for mentioning that, because we actually talked about this last night and this morning as well. It's like once we, when I say we, it's really we, everyone in this room, right? We're seekers, we're healers, right? And we have gifts, right? And once we feel that gifts and we have that sense of gratitude, honestly, it's our responsibility to shine and to share. Not in a way that I am helping you, but in a way that I am a lighthouse because I have light, and would you be interested, right? So in that sense, please keep on sharing, okay?
You got it.
Yeah.
I tell you, believe me, a lot of teenagers will need to hear this.
Yeah. That's why I enjoy talking to a lot of my friends about this as well. But
Yeah.
I'm just glad I was here, got this opportunity, so I gotta take it.
Yeah. Cool. So you're gonna go there, find a table that you like,
Sounds good.
and you're gonna help me